Falcons fans, welcome in. It is episode 40 man of Out of Your Falcon Mind, Atlanta Falcons fan cast. I'm John, your host, joined by my co-host, Mike. Man, what's going on? Looking great in that 21 sweater, man.
Well, I appreciate it. I tried, buddy. I'm out of my Falcon mind, man. We almost 50. We almost 50. We
Who knew,
almost
man?
of age.
Who knew?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. We got a very special guest. I can't even talk. We got a very special guest that's out of his Falcon mind. The man just told me he was from Maine. So we got to hear this very special guest. I'm out of my Falcon mind. I'm truly excited for this episode. I'm ready to rock and roll.
That's right. Yep, we do. And that special guest is Dave Choate, the Falcoholic. What's going on, brother?
Not much. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, man.
Sure.
Appreciate you coming on. I kind of joked with you on sending you the messages. I didn't want to ask when we had like 4 listeners, like 10 episodes in. So like now that we've actually, done somewhat well, and it's been increasing, getting more listeners and everything. So yeah, we figured now would be a good time. So really appreciate you coming on, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. It really is.
Yeah, no, I mean, the first couple of years with the Falcoholic, there were probably 4 people reading my articles. So I get it,
Yeah. And we just, we just 2 buddies for the last little over a decade. And we've literally either call or text each other every Sunday. And it was just like, man, we should just put this on like a podcast. Just what the hell? We might be entertaining. We might not. We'll figure it out. If we suck, then we'll stop, and so far it's been okay, and people seem to like it, so yeah, we're good with that. So but yeah, man, and look, folks, if this is the first time listening to us, hey, welcome in. Hope you come back. Normally we have a preview show each week and a recap show. This week I was a little sick, a little sinusy crap going on, so we couldn't really get to the recap show like we wanted to, which was good and bad.
Very good.
I mean, we will cover it today. We're going to cover the Saints game a little bit today, and obviously get into the Rams. But anyway, most of the time we're going to have that recap show right after the game on Sunday or Monday, depending on our schedules. And then, of course, the preview show will be either on Wednesday or Thursday, unless we have a guest that needs a different day. Then we'll figure that out. But that's kind of how we're doing it. We'll throw in some other shows here or there. But again, welcome in. You can follow us, Out of Your Falcon Mind, on Instagram, Out of Your Effing Mind on Twitter. Hit us up anytime, ATL Falcon Fancast at Gmail. We've had some awesome emails along the way, so keep those coming. And yeah, that's it. So let's get right into it, Dave. What Mike said, from Maine. How do you end up a Falcons fan?
He just told me he was from Maine. He lives in New Hampshire, but the man is a diehard Falcons fan. I'm down to hear it. He's out of his mind.
It's probably not as entertaining as you want it to be, but here we go.
Okay.
No, it's still entertaining.
So, being a Falcons fan, my dad wasn't really a Patriots fan. My mom wasn't a Patriots fan. I knew Patriots fans, but the thing about New England in the early 1990s was the Patriots stunk. Like their coach was named Rod Rust. Like that's a great name, but not a great coach. They were terrible. And so myself and my best friend, we had like the original Tecmo Bowl, we were watching what we could, and he got into the Bills, who were great, obviously. And I somehow got into the Falcons. And the first real memory I have is them beating the Saints in the playoffs, in the 1991 playoffs, which is pretty much the best place to start, right?
It really is.
It really sets the tone, so I got into him a little bit after that. My dad was like scrounging to get me Falcons gear, like those little helmets that came out of the vending machines. He'd like crank through a bunch of quarters looking for the Falcons one, and picked up Tecmo Super Bowl and kind of went from there. So I've just been a fan since, about 1991, 1992. And, the hardest part about that being up here is, the Patriots got good after that. So like, I don't regret not being a Patriots fan, but I regret that I have to put up with them. So,
So how were you? I got to ask this. How were you and the crowd, or I don't even know where you would have saw the Super Bowl at? Was you crowded with like Patriots fans and family?
No, I watched that game by myself.
Okay,
Smart
good.
Man.
Yeah,
Smart man.
Yeah, and it, it was funny. Like people say to me all the time, they're like, "Oh, you must have gotten so much trash talk the next day." Like I walked into work, man, and nobody even wanted to look me in the eye.
Yeah,
like,
it was.
It just felt too bad.
Oh,
I guess was
totally get it.
So,
Yeah. I've said it before on the show. My kid, who was 5 at the time, 5, 6, went to bed at 28-3, and he was feeling great. He was like, "Oh, and I'm like, yeah." When I told him the next morning before he went to school, he first thought I was joking. He was like, "No, seriously, what was the score?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm sorry, we lost the freaking game." And he literally cried. And I felt like I just made a terrible parenting decision. But I mean, he stuck with it, man. He's still a fan. So, I told him, I said, "Look, man, you're 5, and this is probably the worst thing. God, I hope it's the worst thing that's ever going to happen to you as a fan. So it can only get better from here." Like,
yeah, and it's only gotten a little bit better, but it's gotten better.
Yeah.
So you were right.
Yeah. I mean, your buddy that chose the Bills, I mean, I don't know what's worse. I mean, he had to go through 3 in a row.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, we were,
Dave is a real fan, though. I have to give him props because I'm gonna tell you, as soon as the Patriots were good, he could have easily jumped ship. It would have been like no questions asked. The whole family, he could have easily just went along, and instead, the man is still donning that Falcons cap. You gotta love it.
Yeah, and it's been. I think it made me even less want to do it because I watched so many people jump on who weren't really fans at all. When they weren't good, and you can almost see it happening again now. Like somebody was saying the other day, like the lowest ratings for a Patriots opener in like 20 years. It's like, here we go, right back to it. So we're diehards. We stick with them,
That's right,
stick with them. I love it, buddy.
Now, who was your favorite player when you first started watching?
Jesse Tuggle, for sure. Like
I
loved Andre Rison. Eventually, a little bit later on, Terrence Mathis was a huge Chris Miller fan, but Tuggle, to me, like that is still football perfection. That guy
100%.
hit people in ways that terrified me.
Yep.
He's the best, and it's so awesome to like still have that lineage with Grady Jarrett too. Like, that's a great family right there.
Apple didn't fall far at all in that case. He was fun to watch for sure. Now is he still like your all-time favorite Falcon, or did that get replaced?
Yeah, I think he still is. I kind of, it's hard to like rank him out, but it's him and Julio, are my one two. I would say it's hard not to have Julio as one of your top 3, which is why like when he left and people were like good riddance, I was like, no, come on.
Yeah, same here.
Julio Jones, now I don't want to see him play for the Bucs this year.
No, I mean, I'm not like burning the jersey or anything. Had he went to the Saints, I would have considered it. But like, I mean, like the Bucs, I mean, I get it, man. He wants to win a championship. He's older. He wants to. I get it. I don't blame him at all. I would do the same thing probably.
No, we're all older. We want to win a championship.
Hey, yes,
exactly,
man. Hey, listen, it's stupid. It was silly, but he was one of the first people I drafted in fantasy football. I'm loyal, man.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta go get him, and he will be starting. What is it, next week? So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he had a pretty good game. I think the first.
He really did.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess good for him. Yeah, but So I mean, how's the Falcoholic come along for you? How's that happen?
Yeah, so I was in college at the time, and I wanted to be a sports reporter, and so I sort of figured out after a few years in a newspaper, like that wasn't something I wanted to do. But at the time, SB Nation just had a few football blogs. I think there's like 2 or 3 that are older than the Falcoholic, and I was a big Falcons fan, and I kind of wanted to get into writing, and so I reached out and I was like, hey, can I write for you guys? They had me put in some samples. They were like, okay, you're not local, can you watch every game? I said, I'll figure it out. Thank you Eastern European streams, right? We went from there. So that was 2006. So I've been at it for close to 16 years now, and I remember my first game was Falcons played, I think, the Bengals, and Michael Vick had a good.
I got a question, Dave.
Yeah.
The hardest article you ever had to write was what?
It was definitely. I mean, it's not going to surprise you, right? But it was.
Skip the Super Bowl, not the Super Bowl though. Like not the Super Bowl.
Oh. Man,
was it like an injury? Was it a trade? Was it anything that you was writing about it was really tugging at your heartstrings? It was hard to write about, like it was bothering you to write about it.
Yeah, boy, that's a great one. Definitely, I would say when Petrino left,
great call.
That was a hard one to write. Like, there's been several over the years. The Falcons chasing this guy or losing that guy. Vic, obviously, that was a tough point. Like that guy was, my hero. I had the posters all over the wall, so it was rough there for a little bit. But Petrino, like, just because all you want to write is like a stream of like curse words.
100%.
Because you hate this guy. Like, you can't believe what a scumbag he is. And like, you want to be like Mike Zimmer was talking about him, but so like just containing the rage and like trying to write that and then, you know, not writing about it for like the next 15 years has been tough. But yeah, I guess that would be it. I'd have to really think about that. It's a great question though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
It's basically about to kill
I think
someone.
the dog is going crazy. I think he agreed with us.
I think he heard Bobby Petrino and that was it. You know.
Well, he got pissed off last week when he was talking about the Saints. So I mean, you know, same thing.
Good dog. Good
yeah,
dog.
he kind of understands. He gets it. So, yeah, man. Well, that's so. And the Falcoholic, man. That's. I mean, I can't think of a more appropriate name really for like a Falcons like kind of, you know, blog or really anything like I mean, relating to the Falcons. That's a perfect freaking name for it.
Yeah, and it was like number 4 on a list of 5 names that I came up with potentially, and they chose the right one. But you know, the funny story I told, I think on Falcoholic Live last week is we wanted falcoholic.com and it was taken. There's like a Swedish software developer who has falcoholic.com. He still has it. The site looks 20 years old. It's still there. And so we are the Falcoholic. Otherwise we would have just been plain old Falcoholic. So
wow, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, our name came about literally. I said we got to think of a good name. He sent me a text. This was the first name he sent me.
First name.
And I was like,
great name too.
That's it, man. I was like,
that's
it. Yeah, that works. So
you have to be a Falcon fan. So that's what it is.
You have to be.
You have to be.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to keep coming back for this pain over and over again, I mean, it's you got to have something like that. All right, well, getting into a little bit of the Saints review. Really good 3 quarters. And the fourth one, I mean, I thought Kevin at the Falcoholic did an awesome job breaking down the film on the podcast. I mean, he kind of went through it. I mean, we get to the fourth quarter at around the 12-minute mark just after that, and that drive that really kind of got him back in the game. I mean, it was weird. You know, we played our backup D-line basically and kind of set back in some softer zone coverages, and Jameis just picked us apart all the way down the field. And then the second drive that they ended up scoring on, you know, a credit to Dean. He actually, we amped up the pressure again. We still had in the backup guys on the line, which just I didn't quite get, other than maybe a rest type thing. I don't know, but you know, either way, Michael Thomas made 2 hell of a fantastic catches. Jameis put the ball right on him. I don't know what else. AJ was getting dragged a little bit. I don't know what else he could have done really in those situations, other than like grow 4 inches, and he can't do that. So I mean,
let me say something. I just have to say this, people. If you have a wide receiver that's talented and you have a good quarterback, or I don't care if they suck, if the receiver runs the route perfectly and the ball is where it's supposed to be, you can be in perfect coverage. You can't do anything. You know where you're gonna go before. Like the cornerback is the only one who don't know the play. So if I know I'm going up and I'm turning left, he has to react to me. Like I know where I'm going. I could fake right, then go left. If the ball is where it's supposed to be, man, I could be doing what I'm supposed to do and still he'll catch the ball. Yeah. So he was in position on all them plays. I read a lot. He was getting dragged online. He was getting embarrassed, and he didn't get embarrassed. The man was in position. He didn't get burnt on any of those. He was where he was supposed to be against a taller, stronger man that knew, and the ball was where it was supposed to be. So he had his hand on a ball or 2 and still just couldn't do anything, but he was in position. So y'all please give the dude a pass.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, Dave, what's your take on as far as, you know, what was kind of the good and the bad of I guess not. I mean, you can talk about the game, but you know, we'll break it down a little bit more than that too.
Yeah, the good was, you know, most of the first 3 quarters, right? Like I really thought, and I think this is part of the reason like Arthur Smith was so teed off after the game, right? Was like they coached a hell of a game. Like they put the Saints back on their heels. You know, offensively, everything was working. Defensively, that pass rush, man, I almost cried, you know, seeing 4 sacks in a game. Like it's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's almost a quarter of the season total from last year in one game. So
which is insane.
It's insane. And like, so you saw a well-coached, well-executed game. I think it just came down to I think P's made a little bit of a mistake with the timing on that. I know he addressed it today, I think with Mike Rothstein at ESPN, where he said,
Yeah.
you know, ideally you don't want the whole second team line in. And I think some of that is maybe just being a coach. You can't think the same way Falcons fans do. Whereas if I let off the gas even a little bit, I put the backups in here, I'm maybe not as aggressive right here, that we're going to lose this game because that's what we do, right? You can't think like that, but it's kind of what happened. And then of course, Arthur Smith's, you know, decision on the 4th and 1, I thought. So, and that's really what it comes down to. Like you had a handful of penalties that were really costly. You had a couple of poor coaching decisions. You had some execution errors, and that's all it took for the lead to go away. And like you said, Mike, you know, some of those passes against AJ Terrell, you know, rewatching the game, you know, what he couldn't do much more than he did.
Yeah.
You know, he would have had to be perfect. And so that's what drives you crazy, is like, you know, you got this choker narrative again, like we're so used to. They lost to the Saints, which sucks, and it was real close. You know, it wasn't a case of them completely immolating. It just went poorly there. So
I mean, and I think everybody might have seen this stat so far. I mean, if you haven't, then I'm sorry I have to share it with you, but NFL teams leading by 15 points in the fourth quarter over the last 3 seasons, we are 5-3. The entire league is 242, 2-1. I mean, it's almost unbelievable. Like, it's almost like you can't make it up type of stuff. Like it's crazy. And like Dave said, I mean, yeah, you can't coach like that. What you're thinking now, what I was thinking when Mariota fumbled the ball on the 5 was, oh shit, like this is going to screw us. Like, we literally could have went in there more or less. I know it's like, you can't say it really, but more or less ice the game if we could score a touchdown there, and then we're up, you know, 3 scores in the 4th. But that I was like, man, hope this doesn't start something. And then of course they go down the score, you know, it happens. I mean, that fumble hurt, obviously Zacchaeus' fumble hurt. The snap on 3rd and was it 3, I think, down there, that was the missed exchange that did not help any. So we kind of shot ourselves in the foot. I mean, like, as far as like Dave said, I mean, seeing that aggression on defense, man, I was so happy, man. Like I like you said, I haven't seen that in so long. And to see, and I think P said today in the conference that they dialed up, I think it was 51% blitzes on that, which he said the league average is typically around 30, you know, around there. So, I mean, if that's kind of, you know, he said last year, he just didn't have the personnel to do what he wanted to do. You know, this year he seems to have those personnel that he wants, at least for the most part. And they're making strides, man. You could see it. I mean, for sure, you know, and I think that's what everybody's kind of question mark is what kind of leap is that defensive unit going to make? Will the offensive line get better? They sure as hell did. Like, at least from what I mean, you know, you're going against I think they were number 1 ranked rush defense last year, right? The Saints, or up there in the top 5, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Up there, I forget what it was.
They were top 5, and you know, we had 201 yards. I mean, like, rushing, what? I mean, like, so that was out of nowhere, and so I mean, all like a lot of positives to take out of it, man. I mean, it's of course we freaking lost the game, which sucks. But you know, I mean, I don't know about you, Dave. I mean, Mike and I went in this season kind of like last season. Not a ton of expectations. Like, we wanted to see progress and get better. We're not expecting a playoff type burst type of thing, but if, you know, it happens, is great. But I mean, we were just wanting to see more progression from those young guys, see actually what Arthur Smith's game plan, what his idea for this team is. I think you're getting a better look of it now, especially after that first game.
Man, I was honestly, it's a crazy take, but I'm still impressed. I'm thoroughly impressed. I was happy with all of it. I just know that we imploded in the 4th quarter, but I think that these are things that have to happen in week 1 with all the teams. Like, you saw a lot of stuff. It didn't have to happen like that, because I know that it always happened to us, but I'm still impressed. I was impressed with the whole thing. I don't have a harsh critique. I just hate it was the Saints. But I'm thoroughly, Jalen Hawkins, I thought played amazing, man. Michael Walker played amazing. They was blitzing. For Peace to be on the sideline instead of up, I think it's a big thing. But I think that's kind of, he was around the players as they was. So that's he kind of was like, oh, go have a seat. We need a break, because he's down there. But it helped that he was down there. I mean, I was impressed on all. Even when you hear me say I was impressed with the offensive line, You never heard me say that. You never heard me say I was
Yeah.
impressed with Marcus Mariota. I called him a hot dog. I said he like a hot dog, not a steak, not a piece of pizza. That's like a hot dog, a plain hot dog. It don't got no condiments on it or nothing. But I was impressed. He looked fast. He looked sharp. I love Matt Ryan with a passion, but to see a mobile quarterback and how that opened up the playbook, it was good to see, man. I do not have the critique that everyone is expecting. I just hate it was against the Saints. That's my whole thing.
Yeah. Well, Chris said last week on the show too, that the Saints do have a hard time with mobile quarterbacks and play action types, and that we did a shit ton of play action. I think it was over 50% play action when we did throw the ball. So, I mean, we definitely attacked that part of it. And one thing too, that I saw that Kevin pointed out on his film study, that I thought was crazy. And Dave, you might've saw this too. The positioning of Richie Grant and some of those, those drives in the fourth quarter, he's 25-30 yards off the ball. Like there's no way he could even affect the play. Like, like it just seemed like, well, why is he in this like crazy prevent looking type of thing when, I mean, it just seemed odd to me.
But
yeah.
On the whole defensive side of the ball, it was only 2 previous starters.
Yeah.
So I was in heaven off that. You could just tell me that without me seeing it, and I like that. I do like that. And I thought the defense great. I honestly thought they looked great into the fourth quarter. If it's just some mistakes, and I don't think that we are going to have that happen every game where we fumbling snaps and doing all that. So I'm not panicking. Relax in my Aaron Rodgers voice.
Yeah. Dave, do you have anything else on that, man, on that last fourth quarter or anything?
No, the only thing I'd say is like, it was impressive. Like, and the defense, we're talking about an entirely different game. Jalen Hawkins, like, he would have had to been a superhero to make that interception, but that was something. But, I think what I would say to fans, like whether you're feeling optimistic or pessimistic, like it was a hugely encouraging effort. And like this team may very well be 0-2. I know we're going to get to the Rams game. They may be 0-2 after this weekend. Last year they were 0-2, and I was like, man, this season is over. They looked bad, and like they did rally a little bit, but they were never that good last year. They already look, a million times better on both sides of the ball than they did a year ago. And like, so to me, like, regardless of where you come out of this, like the plan is working. We are moving in the right direction. And I think that's a credit to the front office, but it's also a credit to the coaching staff and the players. And like, hopefully they can keep it up.
Yeah, I mean, they look like they've 100% bought in, like all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, which is awesome to see, because that's what you worry about. Like. Right. And that's what you worry about with a first year head coach, going into the second year, especially having that season, whole new quarterback, a lot of new players. It's just kind of, how's it going to work? But man, like you said, I mean, they've drafted looks like the right guys that's going to buy right in. And, P said today in his press conference, he said, as long as Arthur's at the helm, he was talking about Richie in particular, but he said, they're going to go after guys that just don't stop. I mean, they're going to have that motor nonstop. He said, they knew that there was going to be a learning curve with him in coverages, but they knew he had the potential to do it. He just had to learn it. When Mike and I, we talked about it last year all the time, man. There was just, he didn't have as many opportunities to go on the field, but when he did, he showed. And then this first game was like night and day from last year for him. And I mean, the Eagles game last year was that was beyond embarrassing. I didn't even know what to think after that game. So yeah, you can't even compare this year to last year's first game. It's not even in the same
question, Dave. Do you, because you see it every week, like you see the ins and outs and you got all the information, do you think that our talent is just a slightly better, or do you see a culture change?
I think you're seeing a change, and it's hard to know, like, has the culture changed? Is this a team now? They just blew a lead. So, I mean, there's something there, right? But, so maybe not completely, but, like the buy-in is real. Like, and this is the thing, like Jeff Schultz at The Athletic, who's, he's good at being skeptical. That's what he does. And he said multiple times, like, Arthur Smith has these guys buying in. You hear Cordarrelle Patterson say, whatever Arthur wants us to run, wherever he wants us to go, we're going. Like, these guys are bought in. They're completely bought in. And I think that the combination of kind of having everybody pointed in the right direction, the same direction, which is something that Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot said in that opening press conference when they were both hired. Like, we got to get people who don't want to be here out of the building. We got to take the entitlement away. And then upgrading the talent, which I think they've actually done fairly significantly. I think that combination, to me, one maybe begets the other, right? Like the culture change is making guys better. But I do think that the talent is there. I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you heard that from Dave. So you didn't come out my Falcon mouth. You heard that from Dave. Dave said it. No,
it's valid from anybody. I think we all see it though, right? Like that's the thing is like, to me, Richie Grant's a great example of that. Here's a guy who there were a lot of people like he's a bust last year, he's not playing. And look at the transformation. Like they knew what they were doing with him and he was bought in on it. He didn't sulk about it. He put in the work and it's going to be like that this year. People are going to say Troy Anderson, we're not going to see him on defense. He's going to be a bust. Watch what he does next year. I bet it'll be great. So
yeah, and I'm really glad Richie's doing well because
called it first. Dude, John called it early and often.
Every week I was on the Richie train and I was getting hammered for it, and I was like, I mean, it's because I watch a ton of college, so like I saw what I know it's Central Florida. I know it's not SEC, AC, or SEC or Big Ten. But I saw what the dude could do. I mean, athletically, and how he played the position. I just thought, man, he just needs a little bit of freaking time, and then he would, and hopefully he keeps progressing because it's
you never gave up on him, buddy. You always said that. You always said.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. Culture change is this. I know y'all saw the play. Here's what I'm saying. Culture change. Okay, Patterson. We on the goal line. We almost on the goal line. He gets the ball. He gets to the 1, but he gets stood up at the 1. A whole offensive line came and pushed the pile. When have you seen Atlanta Falcon just come up? He got stood up. He was going backwards. A whole offensive line. That's brother. You remember when I gave that thing about your brother and helping your brother out? It came from your brother. I loved it.
Yeah, that's culture change. That and you have 2 smart thumping linebackers, man, like Michael Walker and Rashawn Evans. Like Evans, I think is going to be low key, maybe the best offseason pickup for that defense. What he brings to it as a leader and just as physically what he can, do at that position. So we'll
Walker
see.
Was signal calling. I was impressed by everybody, man. I loved it.
Yeah, and then like Dave said, mentioned the 4th and 1 call. Mike, did you see the end of the Broncos Seattle game by any chance? No. Coach Hackett at the Broncos is almost, I kind of bailed Arthur out a little bit because, dude, he had, I was watching the Manning cast instead of the regular guys. And Peyton, so we got down to they were at a 63-yard mark for a field goal would have been to win the game. And there was a full time, dude, they let the entire time run off the clock before calling a timeout. And then to kick a field goal, to attempt a 63-yard field goal. And it was like 4th and maybe what, Dave, is it 3, 4th and 4, something like that? I don't even know.
I think 5.
But I think 5. Yeah, okay.
Like right in that range. Yeah.
Yeah. And he said after the fact, he regretted he probably would have went for it in hindsight, knowing, but that's insane. Like you're going to try to set up for a 63-yard field goal. But whatever.
But I will say this, Koo was going to hit that. I have no doubt in my mind he was going to hit it.
Yeah,
he said everything else.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I thought, yeah, exactly.
They said he hit that in practice all the time. So he's hit that. So I have no doubt in my mind he was going to drill that. But the way the trajectory he has to hit it is too low. Yeah. It was easily blockable.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But anyway, back to that 4th and 1. Yeah, I thought that if you went for it, there's a short field, but dude, we punted it and they were back within field goal range within 1 play. So it was like, and Arthur said the same thing. He said, hindsight 2020, of course, that type of thing. But Arthur was pissed, man, after if y'all didn't see it after the game, you probably have by now, but yeah, he had a little, told the reporters, hey, you rolled us off in May, go ahead and write us off again. We're good. We're going to keep whatever. And he walked off paraphrasing all of that. That didn't, a lot of people got butthurt by it. That didn't really bother me that much. The dude's emotional. He just lost a game that, he knows that we should have won. And he's heard all the negative comments. He's not immune to all that stuff. So I didn't really have a problem with it. He's human. I'd rather him do that than just be the opposite. I know the guy cares. And he came back this midweek and said, and he kind of not apologized, but he kind of righted it, said, no, look, of course I was emotional. I could probably handle it a little bit differently, whatever. But I'm good with it. I don't know. Dave, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of two things here. Like, I didn't have a huge problem with it. Like, I think it's just kind of, we know by now this is who Arthur Smith is, right? Like, he likes to needle people. He wears his heart on his sleeve in a different way than Dan Quinn did, who also did, but like different way, different guy.
Oh yeah.
For sure. And so, like, the point that I felt like he was trying to make was, you got 16 games left. This is one game, and like, you guys, meaning locally, but certainly nationally, like, I think he said ranked us 45th in the league, which is probably, he didn't mean to say that, but it might as well be, right? Like, they were going to say 2-15. USA Today had them as the worst team in the league. So, for him to hear that, he's got to be feeling like, we played a good game, we lost, and now everybody's going to be like, it's the Falcons, just like I knew it would be, they lost. And like, so to me, him being that way was understandable. The only thing that I would say is like, he says things sometimes like, I don't really hear what's going on out there. It's like us against the world and stuff. He clearly hears everything. Yeah. And I think maybe he cares a little too much about it. That would be the only thing that I would say, because to me, like, you're building a successful program. Clearly your players love you. You got the ownership buy-in, like, you're not in any danger. I think no matter how this year goes, Arthur Blank understands that this is the plan. You got to stick to it. So like, whatever I say, whatever, Jeff Schultz says at the Athletic, whatever USA Today is saying about the team, like, if you don't have to hear it or don't care about it, right? Like, it doesn't matter. You guys are building a program that hopefully will be the right program, right? So that would be the only thing I'd say is like, for his blood pressure, like, hopefully he just stops hearing this stuff.
Yeah. It's funny because that actually, it kind of reminded me of Saban a little bit, like, because he's the same way. He acts like he has absolutely no idea what's going on in the outside world outside of Alabama. I mean, I think the one time they'd ask him about, I think it was election day, he was like, what? I didn't know you can vote today. I mean, like, he literally just deadpan serious. Like, I had no idea. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Day.
But, right.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, but yeah, this just kind of reminded me of that. But that, like you said, way different than Dan Quinn. You're not going to get the, the pump me up kind of like go get them type sayings. So
hold on, man. Okay, here's the thing, Dave. Now I know that you don't know this, but you just triggered John by saying Dan Quinn. I knew he was coming back to that. I knew he wouldn't let it go. John hate Dan Quinn and Vic Beasley. These are two people you can't say on this show. He is triggered by all. I knew that was coming. I just know you so well, buddy.
It's not that I hate.
I got to work Vic Beasley in here somehow, I guess. Yeah.
See, right.
God, see, yeah.
We're gonna just ring a bell every time,
dude. No, I mean, it's not that I hate Dan. I'm sure that he looks like, and probably is, the nicest man in the world. Like, he seems like a great human. I just, it just didn't work for our team, man. It just, I thought he was held on to probably a year too long, and. Like that message just wasn't getting through anymore, like, and we can say what we want about the Super Bowl season, but without Shanahan there running that offense, we don't get there. I mean, I don't think so, at least. Go ahead.
Question, Dave. Yeah. Why do you think that the players buy into Arthur Smith and they really didn't with Quinn, or do you think they did with Quinn? Because it just seems like he was a great speaker as well. He was hell of a motivator as well. Mm-hmm. He had speeches as well. He was doing the same thing, but it seemed like you could see it on the field with Arthur. Now, why do you think that is, when it was kind of, I won't say the same dude, but it was a similar approach?
Yeah, I think that people feel like Arthur Smith is no nonsense, right? Like, I really feel like that carries over into like how he deals with players. And like, I don't have any inside information here, but it's just his demeanor. I don't think he's faking it in the press conferences. He's going to tell you what he thinks. Okay. And so he's going to be as real as possible with you. He's going to be as straightforward as possible. And really all he cares about is turning the Falcons into a winning organization again. So to me, like, especially if you're a young guy, I think that's inspiring, but also if you're a guy like Grady Jarrett, who I do think, or Jake Matthews, these are guys that bought into Quinn, and then they kind of watched the team slip for any number of reasons. Some guys tuned him out. Some guys got paid, I think. And maybe, I'm not going to say they stopped trying, but it just wasn't going the same way. And so like, sometimes that change, just going from like a super positive guy who really believes in propping up, players and whatever it may be to somebody who's more straightforward. That's a refreshing kind of thing, right? And like when you feel like you start to see the shift in like how guys are approaching things, you start to see the success building. That's inspiring in and of itself, right? Like I know going from Smitty, Mike Smith to Dan Quinn, it took like a year for that to really sink in. Like Smith was a certain kind of guy too. So I think that's maybe the biggest difference, is maybe he's just more of that straightforward motivator, and you start to see the success. And I think everybody's bought in.
I love it. Let me tell you what it's like. It's like your dad and mom. It's like he gonna bake you cookies and get you chicken noodle soup and tell you like you'll get them next time. But like dad gonna tell you the truth about yourself, So it's just working, man.
Yeah, it's a good call. Yeah. And last thing on the Saints game, we'll move on to the Rams. Outside of Taysom Hill, man, we pretty much contained the run for the most part. Taysom, I think, had 4 carries for like 80 yards or something stupid, but which that, I didn't, that kind of bugged me too, because I thought like, guys, you got to know he's not throwing the ball here. But
never.
But but outside of that, Kamara was pretty much contained.
Yep.
Ingram didn't do much. So again, Dave said earlier, 4 freaking sacks, man. AK-47 with 1, which is awesome to see his first game as a pro. So outside of the loss, which is the main thing, and we'll end it with this. Yeah, well, way more positives I think to take out of it than
way
negatives.
So. And if you can't see that, you need to go to your eye doctor, man. It was way more positive. The one thing that concerned me about that whole game was I really need Marcus to learn how to slide. You please.
He won't though, dude. That's him, man. That's just him.
He had a statement that saying he thought he found a happy medium. And I'm like, where was the medium? I didn't see you slide and then not slide and then slide. I saw you like he was dipping his shoulder. I said, Marcus, please don't do it. So I just need you to slide, buddy. That's it.
Yeah. If he just goes to the freaking ground, on the 5,
just go down.
Just go down, dude. Just go down. Like we were on the 5, we got a 1st and goal. Just go down.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's over with. So moving on to, or did anybody else have anything else before we go to the Rams?
I got one thing, Dave. I got a good question for you. Okay, you got to prepare yourself. All right,
I'm ready.
Now you've been a fan since about in '91. Okay.
Yep.
If the first year that you was a fan, I believe that was prime time. That was Andre Rison, Michael Haynes, Jesse Turner. I remember that. Okay. If you can pick one player to bring back for this season to help this team at the peak of his talent for 1 year only, but at the peak of his talent for this year to help this specific team, who do you bring back and why?
I'm tempted to say Tuggle, and part of that is bias, right? But part of it is also like, would Dean Pease not love to have?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
would he not? He would.
Yeah, he would.
But I would probably say Dion, right? Like it's hard to pass up the opportunity to throw AJ Terrell and Deion Sanders on the field.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Can you imagine? Yeah.
No. And like the turnover potential with Deion Sanders on your defense too. Like which is something that the Falcons there were a couple close calls, but we want more of those. So if I could take 2, I'd take both of them. But I guess that's not the question. So I would say Dion. Yeah, for sure.
I love it.
Deion's closing speed was just stupid.
Kick return.
But the QB thinks the guy's open because he's playing so off of him, and then he's not. He's there in half a second. So
and just the swagger too, like the way he carried himself. Like that would be. This team is building that, and so that would be awesome to have.
Yeah, 100%. All right, great question, Mike. All right, so going into the Rams game, Rams got handled pretty well by the Bills in game 1. They only put up 10 points. Stafford had 3 picks. I don't want to say it was because nobody really saw it coming, I guess. You could say, losing Andrew Whitworth on the offensive line definitely going to be a factor for the Rams. Aaron Donald's still a monster. Nothing's changed there. What stood out to you, Dave? I guess that Buffalo did to the Rams to really kind of get to them in that game.
I think what stood out to me and is really encouraging. Obviously, we do not have the Bills' defensive front.
Right.
yet. I keep saying yet because, you know,
Well,
Terry
I love
Fontenot, Arthur Smith, they've talked about kind of emulating the Bills, right? And so maybe we get there.
Mhm.
But the fact that they were able to get through that line with a bunch of four-man rushes throughout that game was really impressive. And I think to me, it says a lot about the talent that Buffalo has up front, but it also tells you a lot about that Rams offensive line, which is even
Yeah.
weaker this week with injuries and shifting
right.
guys around. So, you know, to me, it was the quick passing attack, the fact that Josh Allen is you know, superhuman in a way that is difficult to stop on his best day. But like, number one to me, the thing that I watched closely and really enjoyed seeing was just how that pass rush got home. And I really think it's a combination of things. But I think if you're clever, if you're smart, and you have the personnel up front, and the Falcons have at least a few guys, we've seen that that's what you can do to the Rams this year. I don't think there's Andrew Whitworth is not unretiring, so you
Right.
got some problems there.
Yeah, totally agree. And I mean, yeah, like you mentioned, Josh Allen, 26 of 31, 297 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he ran 10 times for 56 yards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like you said, I mean, we obviously have a mobile QB who can potentially do the same thing, you know, that, you know, and as far as, like you said, quick passing, um, I think I was actually reading the article I think you had today, and I think was it Mariota had typically like the longest time in the pocket, but I mean, I think that's when he was starting or whatever. But now it's like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah. And so if he can get the ball out into our multitude of weapons, you know, that poses pretty well. I think we'll score some points against them. Now, going defensively, how would you approach? I mean, you got a Stafford who could be finally maybe on a decline, possibly. You know, the running game was kind of last year or last week for the Rams. It was kind of non-existent. And, you know, the 3 picks hurt, but I mean, you know, they brought in Allen Robinson, who had 1 reception, you know, and they were going crazy about that. I mean, Cooper Kupp, obviously still the guy you have to key on because the dude went crazy, 13 catches, 128 yards. So, you know, he's kind of he lines up everywhere. So he's that guy that you can't lose. But I'll shut up. What do you think?
No, it's I think you can't count on the Rams being that bad again, right? Like,
Yeah,
we know Sean McVay, he's one of those coaches,
Right.
right? Like he's probably been sleeping in his office, not showering all week, like chewing holes in the wall, trying to figure out how to get better. So, you know, he's not going to take that lion down. So you're not going to get the same kind of luck again. But what I do think is you have to wonder a little bit about Stafford's arm, whether it's sore, whether that's slowing him down just a little bit. I don't think it's a major factor, but I think you attack sort of the same way you started out attacking the Saints, right? Like you focus on bottling up Henderson. You send the pressure as much as you can to try to knock them off their game. The one thing that you have to be careful of, I think, that maybe you didn't as much for the Saints, you know, late in the game, Landry got going, Olave was pretty good, Thomas certainly got going, so they did have the multiple credible threats. Allen Robinson, to me, is kind of lurking in the background here as a major problem, right? The fact that they didn't even look at him week 1, that's not going to happen again. So to me, you have to keep Robinson and of course Kupp under control. I think the run defense is good enough to largely bottle up Henderson, and you've just got to let other guys beat you, because I don't think there's anybody, you know, Ben Skowronek, is that how he
something like that. Yeah,
he's that rare guy that, like, I was looking onto the depth chart this week and I was like, I didn't even remember this guy existed. So, like, you know, let him beat you. You know, you got to prioritize the 2 studs there, and you got to send as much pressure as possible, because you just saw it work for the Bills. So, you know, you don't have the same personnel, but you got to try.
Yeah, and you got to figure that they're going to try, as the Saints did, to take Pitts out of the game as much as possible. And, you know, and I think Arthur got a lot of criticism for not using him, I guess, off as a target in some of those, you know, some of those red zone plays. But he's running into the same issues that Julio ran into. I mean, as soon as you enter the red zone, like there's 2, if not 3 guys that's going to be focused on Pitts. I think that's up to, you know, you've got to be a creative enough play caller and, you know, have somebody else that can make plays there. I do think he was targeted the same amount of times as London. I think they both had about 7 or 8 targets, I believe. So it's not that he wasn't, you know, and they tried to, but, you know, it kind of is what it is when it comes to Kyle. He's a freak. So, I mean, he's going to have guys that's like that. He's going to be the focus of every defensive meeting every week. You know, we have to stop him. You know, number 1. So what would be great for us, London keep progressing and being, I mean, he, 5 catches, 74 yards. Awesome. He looked good. They say he's 100% healthy now. Great. You know, Zacchaeus had a good day. Hodge had a pretty good day. So, I mean, you know, we've got, and we didn't even mention CP. I mean, the dude had over 120 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Didn't play a snap in the preseason, you know, and I mean,
to me, man, I think you win, and it's gonna sound counterintuitive by going right at Aaron Donald, man, running the ball right towards him.
Yeah.
I don't see you doing it. I think you have to do that. And I want to see Tyler, man. Is Williams still hurt? Is he playing? If he don't play,
he was out of practice today.
Man, I would like to see Tyler. I just want to see a few. I would like to just see him a few, because that's what he does. I want to see that bull go at Aaron Donald. And I think you run right at Aaron Donald. If you do that enough, if we start to throw, he'll have to hesitate at least a second to see, hold on, what we doing? And that's all you want from him, is for him to have to hesitate. Because if he can come, it's two, man, I've seen tape on this dude. It's 2 dudes, 3 dudes, is no stopping him. No. So you got to run the ball at him in order to get him to hesitate for a second.
Yeah. I thought it was a little weird that he was one of the inactives last week. Did you think, Tyler? David, you think the same thing, or
Yeah, I did. And like, I think, you know, again, I don't quite get why like Franks was active, Jared Bernhardt was active. We didn't see him at all. Like there must have been a plan there that justified that didn't get put into place. But I was surprised, and I think it's probably going to happen, you know, a couple times in the early going here, but probably not this week. I would be stunned if Williams doesn't play. Like they'll probably, you know, flex Huntley. They'll have Algier active, because you're going to want to, if you can, like you said, Mike, run right at him. You know, you want to run as much as you can.
Yep.
Because what you don't want to have to do, in my mind, is as good as Mariota is at escaping. Like you do not want to have him get crushed by Donald a bunch of times, which is a real possibility. So yeah.
And either Ramsey's on a decline, or he just had a really bad game too, because he got pretty, you know, tore up from that game as well. So and he got dragged online for his performance. I mean, which, you know, I don't know. I'm not going to say he's you know, going down the wrong direction now. I just think he probably like AJ just had, you know, one of those games, you know. I mean, he was out of position a lot more than AJ was. He did get burnt a few times, so you know there is that. But you know, I'm not ready to say Jalen is washed up and that's it. I mean, he's one of the best.
Like I said, man, I just want everybody to understand it was week 1. So it's week 1. You cannot.
Well, and I'm not going to use the Braves as an example, but I kind of am. The Braves this year, right? They world champs. Looked like complete ass coming out that first series. There was so much going on with the battery. We had the parade. There's so much crap going on. I mean, the players said, yeah, we're focused on the game, but it's hard not to be. So the same thing, all the Super Bowl stuff going around the Rams, I'm sure that had affected those guys. They're human, you know, it has to. If there's any silver lining for us, maybe it's the fact that we did lose the game the way we did against the Saints. We're going to be, not that we would have went into this game not wanting to win, but we're going to be more.
Man, did you just say the silver lining was we lost against the Saints? I have to have a bad connection.
No. I said the silver lining of that loss is that we're going to come into this game. More like we got to win this. You know what I mean? Like
you
we
scared me, John. I didn't know what you was talking about.
No, hell no. I'm never going to justify a loss. I just meant like, you know, the fact that we did lose may actually, you know, I don't know, but we'll see what happens with this game. But so yeah.
Now hold on. Now you know I'm out of my Falcon mind. I'm gonna say Super Bowl, NFC South champs, which I already called.
Already did,
but you two sound really positive about Sunday. Am I right or wrong?
You're right and you're wrong. I think they're gonna. So coming into this season, I was like, they're gonna get crushed. You know, this is one of those games that like you can't expect them to win. After watching that week 1, I'm like, you know, they're going to be competitive, I think, you know. I don't think they're going to win, but I think they're going to be competitive. So I'm much more positive about this not being a really bad game than I was, which is something. It counts.
Yeah. It does. Yeah. And you're right. And I think it's probably going to come down to the turnover type thing. If we can run the ball and hang with them, like we were just saying, then yeah, we're going to be able to throw it. That's going to open up the pass. We're going to be able to hopefully move the ball. I mean, you know, as long as we don't shoot ourselves in the foot and make these mistakes, you know, and we stick to the game plan, I think we may have a shot. But yeah, it's going to, I don't think we're going to be out of it in the fourth quarter. I think we'll be in it in the fourth quarter, but we'll see.
We have a chance to win. Is that
Of
what y'all
course.
saying? It's a
Of
chance.
course.
I think there's not
Always.
a 0% chance. I
Dude.
don't know if it's north of 10%, but
I love it, man.
It's
The
there.
Super Bowl, man. Come on, I love it.
It's
I know.
NFL, dude. It's NFL.
It's
The Texans
Yeah.
tied the Colts last week. I mean,
Yeah.
like, and then they were supposed to be god awful.
Yeah.
You know?
That game was weird.
It was really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
The Bears played well last week.
Bears won. Yeah.
Think about that. They beat the 49ers. Now, I know everybody blamed it on the rain, but that's why I say week one, you don't know what's happening.
Yeah. So
I think if the Bears could play every game in like a monsoon, they'd win too. They just feel like a team built for that.
That was crazy.
Definitely do.
So,
yeah. So outside, I mean, I assume the player you're worried about the most on the defense would probably be Aaron Donald, right? Anybody else that's kind of,
No.
I mean, he's a number one monster, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you worry about Ramsey and certainly Leonard Floyd, you know, especially with Mariota's, you know, willingness and ability to roll out and get away from Donald, which is something that, you know, Matt Ryan, I still remember the 2019 game where there's that iconic photo of him getting crushed by like 5 guys. He was just not getting out of there. But, you know, I think you do have to worry about somebody like Floyd a bit because he's fast. He loves to try to punch the ball out. So that is something to look for. But of course it's Donald, right? Because the other thing too is like the offensive line was really impressive that first game. Now you got Drew Dahlman, now you got Elijah Wilkinson, you got Chris Lindstrom. They got to face off against Aaron Donald. So that's where we find out, like, you know, you guys did well. Clearly you're better than maybe we expected you to be. And I think that's a good sign for the season. But what does it mean against the best defensive lineman in football, right? So that's going to keep me up at night. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I think what's really good for them is they're going against Grady in practice. And Grady's number 2, I would think, right? As far as defensive inside lineman goes. So, I mean, and he doesn't really slow down. So I'm sure in practice, he's given them everything that he's got. So, I mean, hopefully that'll be a little bit of won't be complete shock, but you know, Aaron Donald's just a whole nother monster, man. He's just a freak of nature. Still pissed off. You know, Chuck Smith called that too, like early on, but in the draft before anybody, he was so on Aaron Donald, and you know, I was like, man, maybe we'll take a chance, you know, and then of course we didn't. But you know, anyway, that's
a big what if.
One of those other what ifs that just never happened. Yeah. But you know, like the year we took Beasley. Anyway, so anybody have a score prediction? Well, actually, Dave, every week, my son who's 12, he comes in and does our score prediction with us. He's gone. They went to the store, so he did give me the score before he left.
Okay.
So, all right. Last year he beat both of us. So
both
I mean,
of us.
It doesn't make any sense. He watches the Falcons game. He doesn't watch any other NFL. He watched the Falcons, but yeah, it's bizarre but whatever. So I don't gamble actually. No point. Anyway, so yeah, Liam predicted, I'm trying to find it. Mike, you're not gonna be happy. He predicted a Rams win, buddy.
Liam, you didn't do it to me.
Yeah, he predicted 37-27 Rams.
37.
So he say high scoring.
Yeah,
okay.
It's also like I said, it's a 12-year-old, so you know.
Yeah.
I think I got temperate with that. But anyway, Mike, what say you, bud?
24-21 Falcons. Let me tell you something, Dave. I never have picked the Falcons to lose.
Not once.
I don't care if we was playing Thor, Superman, Batman, and the rest of them. All the Avengers. I'm picking the Falcons. So you know I'm saying W. But I say 24-21. I say Cool is going to hit the last second thing.
All right, Dave, what you got?
I respect that, first of all. I can't get there, but I respect it. I got the Falcons losing. I was thinking about this earlier. I think 28-23. So I think they're going to once again, they're still figuring things out in the red zone. I don't think it's a 1-week thing. So I think they're going to rely on Koo again. But I do think it'll be pretty close. I think that, you know, the Rams are not going to magically become great after that week 1 performance. I know it's the Bills. I know it's week 1. And I think that the Falcons, you know, as much as they can be this year, they are for real. That improvement is something that matters, is significant. So I think they'll give them a surprisingly good game. I don't think it'll be a win, but I hope it is. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm with you.
100%. All right, so I'll go ahead and go with you, Mike, since we'll have 2 and 2. So we'll go 23-17 Falcons.
23-17. Okay.
Yeah, I think.
You got a slog fest there. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. It's just something. I mean, I actually tried to use logic last year, didn't work. So I figured this year, what the hell? I'll just throw a score out there, and we'll see if that's even better. So,
but here's what I'm saying. Who would have thought in preseason that it would even be a close game? You know what I'm saying? Super Bowl champs, Atlanta. You would have said it's a wash. So to hear even you say that I'm in heaven just hearing that.
Well, that's why you can't play the schedule game. I mean, like we talked about it in the preseason when the schedule came out. Like we didn't want to do that because so many things change, whether it's injuries or you name it. Like the team that you think, like USA Today said, we're going to suck and be 2-15. Well, clearly they were wrong. I mean, we're not. We still could be 2-15, but the roster is not what they thought it was. So I mean, like that's the difference. So I mean, you can't look at a schedule in the preseason and go loss, win, whatever. It's just not going to happen. So yeah, I mean, you're right, Mike. I mean, if you'd have told me just on paper, I'd been like, hell no, we don't have a chance. But watching that first week, I mean, we definitely have a chance.
And all we want is for Dave at the end of the season for you to write an article specifically to US Today. And just get us, man. Just get our back, man, because we won't win. I told that. I thought that was disrespectful in every way.
I saw it in your eyes. You were like actually really offended by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who, me?
You. You were no, Mike.
I was because
when I said it on the show, you were just like you were smiling, you stopped, and then you were just I could tell you were angry.
Man, because it is really disrespectful to say a 2-game. And have you seen who we drafted? Have you seen what we doing? Are you paying attention? To say 2 games is like we had like a draft bust, like we didn't do like how is it going downhill? Are you paying attention at all? Man, they could have called Dave. They could have called anybody. You could have, who are you talking? You could have called T.I., Jeezy, Ludacris. You could have called anybody. I mean, anybody would have told you that we was going up. But to say 2 games is like the sorriest team in the league, man, I thought that was disrespectful. And I'm waiting on our last show. I will address them specifically at US Today. I will find that writer's name and we will have a conversation. But it was really disrespectful, and we will win way more than 2 games. Trust me.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, I look at that and, fans are all over the place, right? Some people think we're going to the playoffs. Some people definitely think fewer wins, but like nobody that I know of was thinking, 2-15, like
exactly.
Because again, like there are some bad teams in this league, but even if nobody finishes with 2 wins, even if the worst team in the league has 5, like Falcons are not going to be the worst team in the league. And I think we did know that. And like, even with modest expectations, which is what I've got for this year, I'm all in. I'm looking at 2023 thinking this could be great, right? With everything they got going for them. But you knew they were going to be a better team this year. They weren't very good last year. They were the worst 7-win and 6-win team ever by point differential. So we knew they'd be better.
That point
never 2-15. So I agree. It's disrespectful. That is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's what we kept going back to as well. It was because we had comments and, emails about basically, dragging Arthur Smith and he needed to be gone after year 1. And our comeback was always like, man, if you honestly take a look at this roster and see what he's really working with and what he's trying to do, after 14 years, Matt in the same offense, essentially, trying to turn over a defense, and we still almost got to the playoffs. I mean, that's amazing to me. Like I thought that was the exact opposite. I was like, no, it was a shitty season, but my God, like he's got I kind of like where his head's at, where this is going. He definitely deserves a couple more years, and I mean, luckily he's proven most of those people. I mean, I know we're 0-1, but I mean, like Mike said earlier, if you can't see it, go ahead and, like you said, make it.
What are you reading? See, that's what I'm like. What did you read or watch that made you think that? Because I'm the biggest fan, but even my common sense says better than that.
Yeah.
My mother knows that.
Yeah, and that's not right. Yeah.
And I want to say this too. Shout out to you, Mom, because tonight's episode will be the first one she'll be listening to tomorrow. So shout out to you, Mom. Hey. I love you so much. I love you so much. You're the best mom ever.
You should have told me. I would have not cussed, 17 times. She's probably used to
No, it's fine.
She probably used to it. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So anything else on the Rams? We got the predictions. Anything before we go on next in or out segment?
Okay, here's what I want to say before we start having our fun. Dave, you are very, very important. I'm gonna tell you why, man. Like the articles you write, the people in Georgia see it. It's like they see the game through your perspective, right? So they get to read and see through your eyes, through your perspective, and it's charming and informative. So I just want you to know that you are important to the whole thing, the Falcon fan. It's hard when it's you, because you don't want to, hype yourself up, but it's drastically important, the job you do, man. So we love you, man. We want you to know that the shit you do is important, man, because you are, man, it's like you are who they check to go say, let me see what he say. Let me see about the injury. Let me see. You are a lot of people's reference for Georgia, for Falcon football. You always got to remember that, man. You are important, and we love you, buddy. We really appreciate you.
That is literally the nicest thing I've heard in 16 years of doing this.
Well, great, man.
That means a lot to me. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, and it's hard to know. I know plenty of people think I have bad opinions, which is fine. I often do, but like it is really nice to hear that from you. So thank you so much.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, like when I first got on Twitter years ago, I don't even know when that was. You start following Falcons, personalities or writers or whatever. Just the I mean, it sounds maybe stupid, but like just the jokes and stuff. I mean, like it just seemed like you really got the Falcons fans. Like for not even being, in Atlanta. I mean, like it just seemed like, man, you freaking nailed it. I mean, because I mean, just being the fan and what it means, as far as being in Atlanta and being a fan of this team. I mean, what you go through, the ups and downs, roller coaster ride that it is. I mean, you nailed it in all those tweets, and I was just like, man, this dude is like spot on with everything. So it was like
wait on your shit, man. Like they wait on man, your take on something. So you gotta always remember how important you are, man. Even though you weigh they wait on your shit.
Hey,
you are important to us, man.
Do you make it down to the games at all, or have you been able to?
I haven't in a long time. I made it down to a few training camps and so forth, but I haven't been down to a game.
You got to come to Mercedes-Benz, buddy.
I gotta. I really do. I am overdue. Overdue.
Look, hey, let's do this. Whenever you plan to do that, I've got a buddy who literally, I'm not kidding, has 50-yard line seats, 5 rows up behind the Falcons.
Right.
He's got 4 tickets. I'll do whatever I gotta do to him to get those tickets for that week, and we'll go. Because dude, it's AMG club access.
Awesome,
Mike and I went to the last preseason game, and he gave me the tickets for that game. And I mean, I've been to games before, but dude, not like this. I mean, that's free drinks, free food. I mean, the what they do, I mean, and that is just insane. You're on the field prior, you can watch warm-ups. It's just, as a fan, man, it's like you're in heaven. I mean, it's so cool. But let me know, man, for real. I will do whatever I gotta do to get those tickets from him that week. Yeah.
And I mean, with the atmosphere being what it is, and I really hope it stays the same. Like that was really great too.
That was fun to see, man.
Like it's awesome. So I would love to do that. So thank you for offering. And thanks for the kind words, man. That does mean a ton. It really
all good. So let's have some fun, buddy.
All right. So
let's do it.
All right. All right. So the segment we started a few weeks ago, guys, in or out. It's pretty simple. We got a statement, either in or you're out. And you can tell me why, or you can tell me not why. That's okay. Either one's fine. And we'll just start shooting right out of the blank here. Kyle Shanahan is to blame for the Super Bowl loss. Are you in or are you out? Mike?
I'm in. I hate the fact that I always say this. I hate the fact he didn't have to explain himself. He hopped right on the plane and went to his new job. I always hold a grudge for that. But I thought Quinn, him, and even my man Matty Ice shared the blame, but he shared most of the blame.
All right, Dave.
I'm in too. And it's I know that he's just one factor, but like hearing him talk about it all those years later and be like, in a roundabout way, I would have done everything differently. Like, I'm in.
Yeah. When he said that, I just wanted to punch him in the face. I was like, dude, really? Like, Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Next up for this weekend, I'm sorry to even bring that back up. I'm going to have tremors in a second.
You can't help it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we talked about that on our very first show just to kind of get it out of the way.
Yeah.
So we just, get over it. All right. Going into this question for this week, Stafford will throw more than 2 picks this weekend or this Sunday. Mike.
No, I'm out. But because I said it was week 1, it's Matthew Stafford. I'm not. He had a great year last year. I thought the wrinkles was because it was week 1. I don't think it was because it was him.
Dave.
I'm also out. Same general reason. I think they're going to pick up some sacks. I'm hoping they force a couple fumbles. I definitely see an interception, but I can't see 2 or more this week. Nope.
All right, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna just be super positive about it and go in and just say that
I love it, John.
That he's gonna force some shit somewhere. That he's, or Jalen's gonna come out of nowhere and take one. So yeah, we'll go with that. Mariota will be sacked 3 times or more this weekend. Mike.
Yes. Man,
damn it.
Man, it's Aaron Donald, buddy. It's Aaron Donald. I'm sorry, and it's Aaron Donald. Sorry.
Okay, Dave.
I'm also in on that. I think his escapability is going to help so much this week, but I do think that, out of an urge to make a play, out of the fact that this is a good Rams defense, he'll probably get sacked. I hope it's just 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I guess I don't want to be in, but I'm in. All right. Jalen Mayfield does not see this field again for the Falcons.
Dear baby Jesus, please. I'm in. I only want one thing for Christmas, and it's what you just said. Yes, I'm in.
All right. Dave?
I'm out. So you know me. I said all spring and in summer that I didn't see and Elijah Wilkinson coming out of nowhere and playing well in that first week. That's great, man. I love that happened. I still think the staff believes in Jalen Mayfield. I still think that he's going to see the field again. Hopefully finding his promise at last and not a 2-game stretch and then they have to pull the plug.
Right.
I think he sees it again.
Yeah. I think you're literally the last person that's got any faith in him. So that's
I didn't say faith. I said,
right.
Slow down a little bit, But I think you'll see him again.
I got you. Yeah. Limited faith. That's all. Okay. This one. So Mike and I, like I said, we were at the last preseason game and we saw the dude play we didn't see him play last year. So Debo was played in the last preseason game just to show other teams that he's healthy for a potential trade, since he was basically put right on the IR after the fact. Mike.
I'm in.
Or do you think that they literally just want to see hey, can he play this year? Is he going to be a fit?
Yes. I'm in for both of those reasons. I think they would like to see if he can play, but then too, I would hope if they didn't want to do that, I don't want him to be Tevin Coleman or Devontae Freeman. I would like him to go somewhere and really ball out. So I hope he gets a chance to showcase his skills.
Dave?
Man, that is a tough one. I guess I'm in on that. It is a tough one, though, because everything about the situation with Debo has been weird to me, and a sign that, I suspected they wouldn't be able to move him or they wouldn't move him, and they haven't, but not for the reasons that I expected, because he's hurt. So I think they probably did want to show teams that he was capable of doing something in case they wanted to trade for him once his IR stint was up. But I'm in, but it's hard to know.
Yeah, same here. And the only reason I threw that question in there is because when they did it, they restructured his contract earlier I think it was this week, right? So it does make him a little bit easier to trade in case that there's a team that comes along that wants him. And I mean, that's the one thing that crept in my mind was man, did they just put him out there just because he was filling up gaps, stuff like I said that he wanted no part of last year. I mean, he looked like
he looked good.
I mean, kind of, it wasn't like 100% Debo, but it was okay, this is better than last year, type of thing. So it was just something that we were kind of interested in. All right, maybe the most important question of these: brown liquor is superior to clear. Mike?
No. Brown bring you down, but the white keep you hype. I gotta say, if you want to have a good time, I say it's the clear. If you want to just chill in the house, I say brown.
Gotcha. Dave?
I'm in, but it's Mike's point is a fair one. Like I wake up the next morning after, whiskey and so forth, and I do not feel like I should have done that. So, I like it more, but I don't like what it does to me more. So but with
Yeah,
a
Mike.
caveat.
Mike,
Yeah.
I didn't expect that answer from you, dude. But that's perfect. I mean, it really is. I mean, like, because my wife's favorite is like tequila, and but she has started more bourbon because bourbon's mine. So like, she'll actually I've got her like the ginger ale and bourbon, like she loves it. So I mean, but if you have too many, like Dave said, the next morning is typically not a really good time for you. Yeah.
No.
So
Every passing year it gets worse too. So
it really does, dude. Because you've got to be kind of. We're both 40, so you got to be right
Mhm.
around our age, right?
Yeah,
Close to
38.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah. It's not. I don't like it at all. I mean, I'm fine getting older, but that part of it just kind of sucks a little bit. You know what I mean? All right, Mike, you got any in or outs before we go
Yes,
on?
I got in
What you
and
got?
out. Okay, I saw something that terrified me. I saw, was it Le'Veon Bell knocked my man Peterson on the ground? Did you see it? Adrian Peterson, he got knocked out in like a boxing match by Le'Veon.
Oh yeah, so yeah.
Knocked him out.
yeah.
Are you guys in or out on celebrity boxing? I would say I'm out. I didn't want to see that. I didn't like to see that.
I'm out too. Like A, it's going to be sloppier, right? And then B, it's like people you love doing something else, knocking each other out. Like that's not my thing. No, for sure.
I'm way out, dude. I grew up watching like actual boxing with my father, like Showtime and HBO fights and everything, and I loved boxing growing up. I mean, like he bought all the pay-per-views, all this stuff, all this shit that's going on now with like you said, like the Jake Paul and these other celebrities and good. I'm like, what is this, man? Like, this so watered down now. It's not even, totally out. Anyway.
All right. Speaking of Deion Jones, are you in or out on playing hurt? And this is why I asked you that. Now I know we all agree that you should play hurt for your team and you be tough and you be a soldier and all that, but it can bring your value tremendously down if if the people don't know that you're hurt. So just say his shoulder was hurt, he didn't tell everybody he's playing, and everyone is turning on him saying he sucked now, he fell off, he traded him. Are you in or out on playing injured?
Boy, that's a great question. I'm out generally. So here's the thing. Like you said, there is a mentality, right? Like if you're a player who, feels like pressured, like if you get hurt, you might lose your job. If you feel like you're letting the team down, like these are factors, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what happens. But I would love to get to a point where a guy's hurt and he feels like no matter what, he doesn't have to play hurt. He can take a week even just to feel a little bit better, or he can wait until he's recovered and he doesn't have to worry about that stuff. He doesn't have to worry about his toughness, being questioned. Like to me, we've seen so many careers derail because guys have tried to play through it. And to me, that's, a bunch of what ifs. So, I'm out on that. Yeah.
John?
Yeah, I'm out. And I think you have to quantify it with the injury, because if it's something, a lot of guys, especially younger guys, and maybe that they've not experienced it before, they have to figure out what's hurt and what's just sore or just what's hurting. There's a difference. I mean, like I've broke my foot and tore ligaments in my foot multiple times playing basketball, and I knew exactly after that first time when it was just a sprain, and I knew exactly when it was, oh shit, I'm gonna have to go back to the orthopedic. So there's a difference there. I mean, if they can play through it and it not affect their play, then yeah, great. But I mean, after week 1 in the NFL, you're going to be sore and hurting the rest of, I mean, that's it for the rest of the, I mean, it's just a matter of, what, I mean, like Mike, you said, I mean, like Debo last year, that clearly affected him, dude. I mean, like he was not, I mean, really a help, I mean, it probably hurt him and it hurt the team. So it's just one of those things, but yeah, generally I'm out. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got another one. There were 7 quarterbacks in NFL history to throw for 60,000 yards. On Sunday, it became 8. My man behind me, my man Matty, 60,000 yards. Only 8 quarterbacks to do it. Y'all get that man his props. Are y'all in or out? Now, you seen week 1 when we said in the preseason, we didn't say, you saw week 1. Now you've seen him in action. You saw his line. You saw his weapons. It wasn't that impressive to me. Are you guys in or out on him making the playoffs now?
I'm in. I have been
in.
in.
Matt Ryan. So
yeah, and I think to me, the protection is the big deal. Like the receivers are going to get better. Alec Pierce is not going to drop a wide open touchdown opportunity like that again. But you've got that great ground game. You've got a good defense, and he's got time, which I think is probably a tough thing for him to adjust to. So,
yeah, right.
You know, even in the AFC, as crazy as it is, yeah, I'm in on it making it. Yeah.
John?
Yeah, you're right. He probably has like some clock going off in his head after
Yeah.
like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, shit, I gotta throw it. Like,
Yeah.
no, wait,
Yeah.
I'm good. I actually
Yeah.
got some time.
Nobody's needed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I'm in. I don't think you can overreact to that one game. I mean,
Okay.
there's gonna be an adjustment period too. You got Jonathan Taylor who still went off, and you know, yeah, I'm in. I mean,
Okay, the last one I got. Are you guys in or not? Now I do this too often. Are you guys in or out on Uber Eats? You are paying an exceptional markup with taxes, fees, a delivery fee for shit that you could drive to go eat what's in your house that you bought for save all your money. Are you in or out on Uber Eats?
I'm out. Yeah, I'm kind of cheap to begin with, honestly. Like I will drive an extra 5 miles to get the food, so I don't have to pay the delivery charge, which is ridiculous sometimes, but I'll do it. So I'm out on that. You know, I'd rather just go get it. I'd rather, like you said, eat at home. Definitely not my thing.
Yeah, John.
yeah, I'm out. I'm super picky about weird like dudes or anybody like being around my food. And
Yeah.
not that there's gonna be some weirdo that's spitting in your food, but that enters my mind every time I think of somebody like bringing my food home.
Yeah.
So like I'm just like, no, I'm good. Yeah.
And I also, you know, I don't know how well they actually get paid for that. That's the other part of it too. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if you're delivering that, you should get a really good tip. I worry that that's not the case. So
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Because if you don't pay them well, they will dip in your fries. Don't dip in my fries, buddy.
Right. Yeah. That's right. You could have the same guy a couple of times and you may piss him off because he didn't get tipped as much as you thought he should have been.
Yeah.
And then it's just a problem.
You get that 73-cent tip, he might take some curly fries next time. You never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so man, that was all I had. I say we go to underrated, overrated.
Yep.
let's do it.
Mike, you want to start it? Who you want to start it?
I will start. Oh yeah, I got a good one. So I want to start with my underrated. Number one is my mom. Of course, she's listening. I love you, Ma. I gotta say that. My mom is number one. She's the GOAT of moms. And I say that for my mom likes football like we like football. You know how there are some girls that just want to put the jersey on and you say, who's your favorite player? And she say like Emmitt Smith or like Kobe Bryant. And you be like, I'm talking about football. My mom knows the player. My mom loves football. Like she's from Texas, diehard Dallas fan. So I got to go with my mom being underrated. My other underrated, I had to do this. This dude, I think he played for the Lions. His name is, what is his name? Nate Burleson. Am I saying that right? He played for the Lions.
Yeah.
Best dressed man on TV. I'm sorry, man. I've been wanting to say that for best dressed man on TV, on any show, the way that man, always professional, always nice. I love it. But my overrated is important. It's like oversharing on the internet. You have to keep some things for yourself, man. I really do.
Or you should.
You should keep some things for yourself. I've seen people share breakups, funerals, spanking a child, scolding a child, really personal things. Like, man, everything is not for sharing. I don't care that you had fried chicken for dinner, man. That's not important. And just have something. If you somewhere with your girlfriend or your wife and it's a little setting and it's like picturesque, save the moment for you without having to pull your phone out. I've had a girl, I will never forget this. I took a girl on a date to a concert and she watched the whole concert through her phone, like, because she was taping. And it infuriated me because I'm like, well, you didn't experience like, I paid these tickets, I paid the price for these tickets and you didn't experience it. You was on your phone all the time. So I'm just saying, man, y'all leave things for yourself without having to take a picture of it. Or even if you have the picture, just keep it in your phone. There are things that should be for you and your wife or for you and your brother or for you and your friend that you should just enjoy. Concentrate on enjoying them instead of a goddamn photo shoot. Because you all are sharing too much. You're sharing everything. You shouldn't. You got to share the gym. You got to share your food. Then you got to share the shoes you got. And then you got to share that you went here and you went saw this. And it's dangerous, man. A person just lost their life off that. Like it was a rapper. It's dangerous to do that, man, to be showing off everywhere you are. Some people may come meet you. So please don't feel the need to overshare everything. Keep something for you, man, so that's special to you and only you know about it. And you had the experience with a loved one or a really good friend. Trust me, it means more. It kind of cheapens it when you pulling your phone out. If you help the homeless, there's no need for you to take that. Sorry. There's no need for you to take a picture of you handing a homeless some money. Just feel good about it for yourself. So that's all it is.
That's great.
Overrated, sharing too much.
That's a really good
I
one.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
John or Dave, come on with it.
Dave, hit it up, man.
All right. Well, underrated. I'm actually going to loop back to the Falcons and say having a pass rush.
Okay, love it.
Look, it's one game. It's one game, but like, how many years now have we been begging for, somebody to be 62% of John Abraham or whatever it is? Like, just seeing them get after a quarterback, especially after last year, which was maybe the saddest year in franchise history. Like, to me, that's underrated. We're not talking enough about how great that is. And if it continues all season, I don't think we can talk enough about it. So I'm excited about that.
Amen.
And since we've outed me as a native Mainer, I'm going to say overrated is lobster.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to say it. Crab is way better. I grew up with lobster. Everybody loves lobster. All the lobsters come from Maine. It's not that great. I don't care for
Not that great.
Have you had sriracha butter lobster tails before?
Don't even know what that is.
I have not. No.
Yeah, well, never heard of it until my wife found this. We have a big green egg, in the back, and she found a recipe for it. And dude, I mean, I'm with you on crab is better, but that is pretty ridiculously good on the egg.
But how much is that, John? Like $500 a lobster?
No. You just buy the tails, then it's just sriracha sauce, and like you do sriracha and butter, and I think there's something else you put on there. Okay. And then you roast. Just
lobster is expensive, but
it is expensive, yeah. But no, it's fantastic, man. It's really good. So, all right.
Lobster overrated. Hot take. Hey, man, I didn't say it. I don't want to hate mail. Dave said lobster was overrated. Man, everybody from his state gonna come for him now.
All right, so
probably.
It's all good. We've had some very controversial things said during this segment before, so it's okay. In fact, the pound for pound.
He said Chick-fil-A, which we got a lot of.
Said that, JR said that was overrated. Yeah. So anywho, well, do you have Chick-fil-A up in New Hampshire or no?
We do. We have a couple of spots in Maine and New Hampshire. It's finally come up here, and I can go to the grocery store and get Chick-fil-A sauce, which makes me happy. So
yeah. My son could live off of that. Yeah. All right, so I'll go. My underrated, dumbasses fighting at games. Okay, y'all keep doing this because it is cracking me up, man. It's like every week now. Now, if I'm at the game, please don't do it because I'm gonna get pissed off. But like every week, there's some morons at every stadium, like they happened this week at MBS, some Saints fans and Falcons fans going at it. And like, you see dudes at baseball games getting knocked out. Like, I'm saying this and obviously in jest, don't do this dumb shit, but it is hilarious to me. It's just like, it's all, and people, like you said, Mike, pulling out the phones and it's all, and then all of a sudden it's viral. But like, even at the Oregon, Georgia game, dude, you got like 3 old fat white dudes going at it. And I'm just like, what are you guys thinking, man?
You're not on the team. Calm down.
Oh, it was just cracked me up. Yeah. So anyway, that's I'm underrated. All right, so for overrated, and I'm gonna have to harken back a little bit on this one to when DW was our first guest on the show. He said this a long time ago, and I just felt like it needed to be said this time. Overreacting to players or teams after one freaking game.
He did say that.
Or just a game period. And like watching the Alabama Texas game, you see stuff online. I was like, oh, y'all still want Bryce Young? Is this the guy you're wanting, for the Falcons, or is this, with the Will Anderson you guys want, after 3 quarters of them playing badly? I'm like, yep, still is, because not that I don't want Bryce Young, I'm not saying that, but like, you can't look at one game, man. One game. These guys are not going to be perfect every game. Like, they're not going. AJ's not going to stop every receiver he sees every game. Like it's their job. They're paid really damn good as well to run routes and get open and beat the corners. Like it's just the same thing. So, just slow your roll a little bit when you jump online and just start smashing people after one game, because it's obviously not that big a deal.
Odell caught that one ball and we all lost our minds. So he was better than Julio, Jerry Rice. And you see what happened. He's a great dancer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But he's a good wide receiver. He wasn't the most amazing one we ever saw.
You're right.
But I have to ask this question. Hold on. Are you still going, John?
No, I'm good. Yeah.
I have to ask this question. Dave, who is the college team for Maine? Or like, is it Boston College? Because I got to ask if you saw my man behind me in college. I'm just wondering.
I did, yeah, and actually, I was famously wrong about Matt Ryan.
So, I have to hear this, Dave. When you saw him play in school, were you thinking great, or were you thinking average, or were you thinking below average?
Average. So I saw him throw a lot of interceptions in school, and I was concerned because I thought he was going to come to the pros, have the same kind of problem. I didn't think he had any like standout gifts, and so I very famously wrote, "They shouldn't pick Matt Ryan. Like it should be Glenn Dorsey." I still get made fun of this. People will just bring up Glenn Dorsey 15, 16 years later.
Dude, tell him to go to hell. Yeah, because I'm not to interrupt you, but 70% of the people in Atlanta, if not more, wanted Glenn Dorsey. That's not a lie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. We were. I had like widespread agreement. I've never felt more popular than I did when I was advocating for Glenn Dorsey. So, yeah, I had to admit that I was wrong about that one pretty quickly. But yeah, Boston College. I mean, UMaine has produced like Jerry Azuma came from UMaine, Corey Graham.
Okay.
Couple of Pro Bowl guys. UNH had their own football team too, but yeah, we definitely saw plenty of BC games, and there's no Matt Ryan at BC right now. I don't care what anybody says about Jerkovich.
No, yeah, and yeah, but yeah, dude, I listen to a lot of sports talk radio here in Atlanta, but yeah, dude, they were so pissed at that Matt Ryan pick. I mean, there was 1 out of 20 people that were happy about it. I mean, everybody wanted Glenn Dorsey, so. Yeah, not alone there. And I was I was in the same boat because I'm a big SEC fan. So, I mean, I saw the dude wreck havoc every week, So I was like, how do we not take this guy? And then he's out of the league in 3 years. So
would have been different in Atlanta, though. I believe that.
Oh, right.
Was he your biggest wrong, Dave? In your whole span of your writing, was he your biggest wrong?
He was. Like, I've definitely had other ones where I was way off, but like it's hard to beat that one. Like being that wrong about the guy who became, the most productive quarterback in franchise history. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So
we love you, Matt.
Yeah, love you guys. This has been great.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, we'll close the show out here, man, guys.
We had a blast with you, Dave, man. You got to come back on, man. This was awesome.
I would love to. Let's do it.
Yeah, hell yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, guys, like I said at the beginning of the show, as far as following us, you can follow us at Out of Your Effing Mind on Twitter, Out of Your Falcon Mind on Instagram. Email us at atlfalconfancast@gmail.com. If you listen to us on iTunes or Spotify, just drop us a 5-star review. I think, Mike, we've got up to like 26 5-star reviews on iTunes, which is pretty cool. And if you write us a nice thing, then we'll definitely shout you out on the pod. I think with Spotify, all you do is just hit the 5 stars and that's it. But it just helps us move up the list of Falcons podcast. So, when people search, they can find us easier, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Dave, tell everybody where they can find you, man, and all the work that you do.
Yeah, you can find me at the Falcoholic, still tweeting things. Can't tweet Matt Ryan scrambling jokes anymore, but I'll live through it. So, but you can find us on the Falcoholic on Instagram as well. Evan Birchfield does a great job over there, and of course on the Falcoholic.com, site where it all started. We keep going. Previewing every game, talking all off season. So hope you check us out.
Yeah, if you guys listening have never been or around or aware of the Falcoholic, then you need to be. To call yourself a Falcons fan, I'm serious. I mean, like, content's fantastic. The guys do a great job. I mean, everyone that's there, y'all do, man. You really do. So it was an honor having you on. I mean, it may sound funny to you, but I mean, like I said, we were just 2 dudes started off a podcast last year for the hell of it, and it's been a blast. We've had a ton of fun with it, and we're just gonna keep going. So, like I said, man, much appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be back around 100 episodes. Looking forward to it.
Hell yes, definitely.
We will be here, buddy. Still praising Matty Ice behind me, buddy. and when I got it again, way up in Maine, Falcon fans, come on, man. We got Out of Your Falcon Mind. Dave, come on, man. The Falcoholic, Dave, the GOAT of writing, buddy.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. So let's all we'll be back Sunday after the. Well, actually, you know what? Mike's a late game on Sunday, so maybe it'll be Monday. It's unless you want to
After
record
our
late.
victory, we will get on and gloat a little bit. That's
There you
all.
go. There you go.
Yeah.
So that'll be either be Sunday or Monday, guys. We'll have that out then. We appreciate you guys for listening. Oh, you can also watch us on YouTube. We do post these on YouTube, by the way. No production value whatsoever. I just load it on there, and what you see is what we're actually doing right now. So hey, we might eventually do something, but for right now, that's what we're doing. So anyway, guys, thank you guys for listening. Dave, again, thank you, and we will be back after we beat the Rams on Sunday. We'll be positive about it, right?
Out of your Falcon mind. Peace.
Yeah.